Hi, this is Joyce Farrell. I want to show you how to avoid some common decision errors. The first error we'll talk about is using the assignment operator, which is the single equal sign, instead of the comparison operator, which is the double equal sign when you want to test two variables or constants to see if they're equal. For example, if you type "if year joined club equal current year," the single equal sign will cause a compiler error because it will attempt to assign current year to year joined club, and that's illegal in an if statement. It's an easy mistake to make because in English we say if year joined club equals current year, but the equal sign is not the comparison operator. The double equal sign is. Another mistake is inserting a semicolon after the Boolean expression in an if statement instead of waiting until the entire statement is complete. This is easy to do because in C# you get used to inserting semicolons at the end of many lines, but they don't belong at the end of every line. For example, if you set score to 65 and then say if score greater than or equal to 70, right line passing, this semicolon will cause a logical error. Whether or not score is greater than or equal to 70, the statement ends there. The console right line statement will execute no matter what score is. The space at the beginning of the line is deceptive. It looks like console right line depends on the if statement, but it doesn't because of the extra semicolon. Another error is failing to block a set of statements with curly braces when several of them depend on either an if or an else. For example, if score is 65 and if score is greater than or equal to 70, you want to write passing and good job, this code won't do it. In this code, if score is greater than or equal to 70, it'll write passing, but the if statement ends there. The line that writes good job executes no matter what the score is, even if it's a very bad score. What you need are curly braces to make sure both of these statements depend on the if statement. Yet another error is failing to include a complete Boolean expression on each side of an and or an or operator in an if statement. For example, it might seem logical to say if score is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90, the grade is a B, but this is not a complete Boolean expression. It won't compile. You have to have a full statement such as score less than 90 on each side of an and or operator. Another common error is forgetting that the and or are short circuit operators. That means when you use and or, an expression is evaluated only as far as it needs to be to determine whether the whole expression is true or false. For example, assume you start out with a student having taken 0 tests, and then the student takes a test and gets a score of 65. You could write a statement like this: if score is greater than or equal to 70, and adding 1 to the tests, if it's now greater than 0, you can output you have passed at least 1 test. However, if the student's score is not greater than or equal to 70, the second half of the Boolean expression will never execute. Even though the student has taken a test, tests will not be increased. If you really need to increase a student's tests variables, it's probably better to do it as a separate statement than as part of an if statement such as this. Not only is it more confusing, it might be absolutely wrong if the second half of the expression never gets to execute. Another common problem arises when you perform range checks inefficiently. For example, suppose you write if score is greater than or equal to 70, set the grade to P for passing. Else, if the score is less than 70, set the grade to F for failing. Logically, there's nothing wrong with this, but asking if score is less than 70 is a waste of time, because if score is not greater than or equal to 70, then it absolutely must be less than 70. This if statement will always be true, and you might as well not ask it. Errors can arise when you fail to understand that casual English is not always perfectly logical. So, for example, you might get a request from your boss, such as, give the people in departments 1 and 2 a $100 raise. And the word and appears in this request. So you might be tempted to write code like this. If department's 1 and department is 2, raise equal $100. But this statement can never be true. Department can never be 1 and 2 at the same time. If department is 1, it's not 2. And if it's 2, it's not 1. This statement can never be true. What you mean to have said is if department is 1 or department is 2, raise is $100. Suppose a boss says to you, if an employee is not in department 8 or 9, give the employee a $100 raise. That request has the word or in it, so you might be tempted to write, if department not equal 8 or department not equal 9, give a $100 raise. However, this will give everyone a raise. For example, assume an employee is in department 9. The if statement says, if department not equal 8, and that's as far as it needs to go, it's true, it's not 8, it's 9, and that employee gets a raise even though that employee should not. What you meant to write was, if department not equal 8 and department not equal 9, give a raise. Or, if you like, you can say department equal 8 or department equal 9 and precede it with the not sign. So it says, if not department 8 or 9, give a raise. Either one of these will work. It's easy to make mistakes with decisions, but with practice, your decisions will become perfect. Thanks for watching.